over here too. Okay, hopefully you guys can see me. This is Pam Ragland, and this is my AskPamRagland.com call, and I'm happy to have all of you. I've been missing you, but I've also been enjoying taking time off, and I hope everyone's doing well. It was a beautiful day today here in Southern California. We had weather in the 80s, and so don't you all move out here if you don't live here already. That's kind of interesting. We always have shorts weather about this time of year, sometime in January, February, and then we'll get back to normal weather again. Okay, all right, so I am going to go ahead and mute everybody that's on the line because I can hear some noise. So sorry about that. Okay, all right, let's see. I think it's taking its time to mute, so there you go. Give it a second. And just so you know, every once in a while I turn my face away from the Ustream, and I realize, because I've watched a couple of these videos, you probably don't know what I'm doing, but I have the questions, and I can see who's on the call on the other computer that's next to me, so I sort of go back and forth between the computer that I'm recording on and on this other computer. Let's see if we can get everyone muted here. Okay, it's taking its own sweet time. Alright, there we go. Okay, good. So I'm going to put that down. So I'm going to start out just telling you a little bit about me. Some of you on the line may know something about what I'm up to, and some of you may not know something about what I'm up to. But I usually start with a little bit of information, just telling you what I'm all about, why I'm here, how I found myself here, and so forth. And I want to thank all of you for taking your time at your various time zones to be here with me and you know, hear about this information. So my name is Pam Ragland, as I mentioned, and I started doing these calls about the end of September, I think at the beginning of October, and just getting to the bottom of people's questions and issues and what's really in your way. And I found that I've just had an overwhelming response in terms of the number of questions. So I said that I'm going to keep doing these calls, and I may switch to a bi-weekly format pretty soon, or even a monthly format. I'm not sure going forward. I may not be doing them every week all the time, but I'll keep doing these calls as long as I keep having questions. And right now my backlog of questions, I think I've got about 100 questions out there that aren't answered still, and I keep getting more. So as long as I have you guys out there that are asking questions, then I'll keep answering your questions. So it's kind of up to you if you want this information or not. So just to tell you a little bit about me, my background is actually, I was transforming companies up until about the year 2000, and I went out on my own. And when I went out on my own, I realized I went out as a coach because I had been transforming companies, and that's a good part of what you do when you're doing organizational turnarounds, is you're coaching people. And back then, coaching was still relatively new. And as I began working with people, I just felt like I was pulling teeth. I felt like it was too difficult. And I used to say to my clients, someday someone's going to invent a way to just go in your head and take all this stuff out without even having to know what it is. But I didn't know it was going to be me. And at a certain point, I ran across this machine that was supposed to remove negative conditioning, and I was all over it. I was really excited because I was looking for a faster and easier, more effortless way to help my clients, and I thought, okay, maybe this is it. And what ended up happening is people would say to me, oh, Pam, it's you and not the machine. I was like, whatever, because it wasn't even within my realm of possibility that there was anything that I was doing or that I could do. And what happened is I ended up learning that indeed it was me, not the machine. Just by accident, I forgot to turn it on one day, and I realized that it was me. And that opened up a whole new world, because the machine had with it some inherent limitations. It could only remove so much negativity because of a thing called frequency that it's operating at. And I'm going to explain some of these terms to you. Negativity, frequency, or a couple of them so far that I noticed I've used that I need to explain. So what ended up happening is that because of this machine having these limitations, I was getting way different results than other people with that machine. And people would say to me, oh, Pam, you know, it's you, not the machine. I was like, whatever, and just kind of blew it off because I'm practical. I didn't grow up knowing that I could do some of the things that I'm going to tell you about. I just am practical, and I wanted to help people faster, and that's really is really the strength today of what it is that I do. So that was my background. I just wanted to help people more quickly and effortlessly, and upon doing that, I stumbled upon a way to do that, which I call thought shifting, and I'm going to explain a little bit about that. But in order to explain thought shifting, I have to tell you a little bit of background. and a little bit about why you may be trying to change and you may find it so difficult. And I always find it interesting because about this time people have made New Year's resolutions. At least in the United States, we're really big on making New Year's resolutions, and people have made New Year's resolutions, and some people are still chugging along and trying to do those resolutions, and eventually people are going to find that they can't do the resolutions any longer and that those resolutions don't work. And that begins to get frustrating for people, and people begin to beat themselves up and things like that. And you may already have made your resolutions and maybe they're already not working. And what I wanted to do was just be able to find a way to explain to people why this is, and so that you're not so hard on yourself about it. Because what I want to tell you is it is really not your fault. It's really a function of things that have been happening on the planet for the last really thousands of years, excuse me, but primarily the last 2,000 years, and it's just something that's gotten worse and worse. And this is a phenomenon that I call negativity. So let me explain to you a little bit about what negativity is. And negativity is basically, if you imagine two ends of a battery. You have the positive end of the battery and you have the negative end of the battery. And I always think, I forget until I'm in here on these Ustreams that people can see me on video and I can use props. But if you imagine a positive end of a battery and a negative end of a battery, negativity are just all the thoughts you have that actually repel you effortlessly living your life on purpose. That's all it is. Positivity is the opposite of that. It's all the thoughts you have that are stored within you, they're in your head and physically within your body, that effortlessly attracts you effortlessly living your life the way that you're meant to live. And I know I said the word effortlessly a couple of times, but effortlessly is a big linchpin of what I'm all about, because I really believe that our life can truly be effortless, that we can be sitting in our own power, as I call it, that we can be the powerful beings that we were meant to be, that we can create our lives the way that we want to create it. It's interesting. I've been watching Oprah, and I get her magazine, and she did a show, and I didn't get to see the whole thing, but the gist of it is that she's gained back a lot of the weight that she's lost. And I'm dying to write into the show, and I probably should do it, to explain that there's a reason why this happens. And she has got person after person coming back on the show saying, yeah, I gained 50 pounds, or yeah, I lost my weight, but I gained it back. Why does that happen? And I'm going to explain to you a little bit about why that happens. It really is not your fault. It's because there's a hidden force that's running our life that we don't even know is there. And part of my mission, if nothing else, is to educate you that this is going on, so that you can make some more intelligent choices as you go forward in whatever type of work it is that you might want to do to move your life forward, that you can ask the right kind of questions and really compel a lot of the work that's being done out there to be raised to a higher standard, to be able to really help in a way that is not really helping so much right now, in my opinion. So what happened is, that kind of made a difference for me, is I began measuring this thing called negativity. And I was asking questions like, how do I know how much I'm helping my clients? Because they would coach with me every week, and we would identify issues, and sometimes I could literally hear their mother's voice in their head, or different things going on. I could see the issue, but I didn't know how to get rid of it. So I would give them affirmations and visualizations, and I want to say that I used those things in 1984, and that those, starting in 1984, and that they worked for me to a limited extent. I was able to raise my income by doing that, by focusing on creating a different income. So it's not that those things don't work, but I just found it to be painfully slow. And I just said, I feel like I'm pulling teeth. And it made me crazy. I just wanted to be able to help my clients. I'd be trying to help them move forward, and I'd identify an issue that after 3 months they were still struggling with. And so that kind of led me in this quest. When I began measuring negativity, this is what I found. The average adult has 97.4% of all your thoughts in your way. And I was astounded. And I had clients that were as high as 99.9%. And that means that almost everything that's happening is working against you in your life. Instead of effortlessly attracting into your life the things that you deserve to have, almost everything is getting in your way. And adding to that, what I found is that 96.4%, so almost all of it, all but about 1%, is hidden in your subconscious. Your subconscious is where your automatic habits are stored. So these are the things that you don't want to think about every day. They just automatically happen. Those are things like, brushing your hair and your teeth and driving your car and doing your job and all those automatic things that you've learned since a kid. When you look at the color yellow, that you know that it's the color yellow, for example. You have all these what are called associations. And an association is simply where